Physician Beck bursts out laughing at the sight before him. He points at Hu Bong. Where did all that hair go overnight? The laughter rings on, and Bong can only curse him silently. He cannot even snap back. The physician is right there beside him. Still chuckling, Beck throws a blanket over Bong's bare scalp. He turns toward the next bed and stops short. Yeo-Woon lies there calm and unhurt as if nothing ever happened. Beck strokes his chin, sensing something is off about last night. He brushes it aside. His job is to treat patients, nothing more. 2 nights later, at the dormitory of Group 8. Cheon Yeo-Woon glares in disbelief. The bastard should have been expelled by now. His follower reports that he carried out the order to cripple Yeo-Woon. But the physician stayed up all night and saved him. Yeo-Woon sneers. Does that physician ever sleep, or is this just an excuse? The follower swears he attacked Yeo-Woon exactly as ordered. He tries to explain further, but Yeo-Woon snaps. The Blade Clan heir backhands him, snarling that he should have stayed quiet. The follower crashes to the floor. Yeo-Woon keeps beating him, furious that such a simple task was botched. A retainer steps in to stop him, asking quietly for the physician's name, Jung Myung-baek. The retainer adds that the physician once studied under Jung Woo-baek. Yeo-Woon's face darkens. Jung Woo-baek, the patriarch's own physician, a poison clan master ranked among the top 30 of the cult. If this academy healer is truly his disciple, then he is no ordinary man. Yeo-Woon curses, sending this useless brat was pointless from the start. He stomps the follower's hand, snarling about forgetting any support from the stealth sect. The follower freezes. Wait, what did he just say? A flashback. Yeo-Woon smiles sweetly, asking Bong to do a job for him. He swore that even if Bong was expelled, he would back his little sect. Yeo-Woon slaps him hard. Had the promise still stood, Bong would have told the truth. Bong sobs on the floor, daring him to keep venting, and warns him to wait until Yeo-Woon returns. Yeo-Woon freezes mid-strike, then grabs Bong's head with sudden curiosity. He rips off the bandana, exposing the bald scalp underneath. Bong stares blankly, sweat dripping down his shaved head. Yeo-Woon mocks the shave as no real sign of remorse and kicks him again. The Blade Clan heir clicks his tongue. He had hoped it would stay quiet, but now it's chaos again. He turns to leave, fuming, and orders his retainer Ja-hyun to follow. Alone on the floor, Bong sniffles and curses them all, Mukim, Yeo-Woon, every last one. Meanwhile, Yeo-Woon casually asks physician Beck if he knows any martial arts. Beck tilts his head, claiming he only studied medicine. 7 days later, dawn at the academy infirmary. Yeo-Woon steps off the bed and lifts his hand, feeling strength flood back into his body. Then in one explosive motion, he bursts forward, fully healed at last. The right guardian, Seop-meng, watches him in awe, certain the boy was born with this talent. For days, he has only shown him the dancing butterfly steps and corrected his stance a few times, yet the boy's form is already steady and natural. If he keeps refining, even the codified fighting forms will come easily. Snapping back, the guardian barks at him to move to the next form. Yeo-Woon clenches his fist. Thanks to the nano scanning, Sir Seop-meng's stance, he can recreate it perfectly. But if he shows it too soon, suspicion will rise, so he holds back. He flows through the technique with effortless grace, ribbons of motion curving around him. The guardian explains in his head 24 moves form 8 codified sets, and the basics alone have taken all week, leaving no time to link them. Still, with another month or two, the boy would master them all, but a single week is simply not enough. He calls a halt and praises Yeo-Woon for memorizing the steps so quickly. The young master bows his head respectfully, thanking him for the kind words. Then the guardian hands him a small booklet. Take it. It contains the codified forms of the dancing butterfly and the inner energy method to wield them. Their lessons end today, but the boy's wit will carry him through. He warns Yeo-Woon not to slack. He will see for himself how much has been learned when they meet again. Yeo-Woon clasps his hands and vows not to disappoint him. The guardian smirks. He had better not. Then, without warning, Seop-meng reaches for a long blade resting on the rack. He grabs it in a single motion, the weapon spinning into his grip. He slides it from the sheath. This is his own sword, the Mad Blade. He tosses it toward Yeo-Woon and tells him to try holding it. The young master flinches in surprise. Yeo-Woon lifts the blade in both hands, surprisingly light, far less than he expected. Seop-meng grins. Ordinary swords run 3 to 4 pounds, but his treasured blade weighs only 2. Yeo-Woon wonders if the lightness was designed for the dancing butterfly. Seop-meng grins, pleased the boy. Catches on fast, then takes the sword back with a sudden swing. Yeo-Woon tests the edge with a sheet of paper incredibly sharp, and physician Beck will not be pleased with this souvenir. Meng smirks proudly, though short and light the blade is forged from the finest steel, the perfect balance of edge and strength. He orders Yeo-Woon to stand back. It is time to show him what he has been waiting to see all along. Meng explodes into motion ribbons of energy swirling around him. Behold his dancing butterfly technique. Yeo-Woon's eyes glint as he silently calls on the Nano get ready to scan, and one eye flares cyan as the system whirs to life. Dawn breaks over the demonic academy, a new day inside the Forbidden Mountains. A figure dashes across the rooftops at full speed. Two men wait on the tiles. They've caught the little rat at last, Sir Meng. The red-haired man smirks. How could he disobey orders, and good riddance to that rat. The masked man notes the second-floor halls will need guards again. The rest is over. The masked man turns to leave, but Sir Ma the redhead isn't done. He presses the question, why so lenient on Student 7? The masked man answers without turning, because it makes things fair. The redhead chuckles into his fist, so every student deserves a fair shot. A whirlwind erupts around him. The wind god grimaces at the dust. And in a wisp he's gone. If he ever wanted to flee, no one could catch him. The redhead lingers, gazing toward the sunrise anyway. Elsewhere, Physician Beck pauses, stroking his chin in thought. Yeo-Woon is usually awake by now, yet today he sleeps on something is off. Still, the physician muses. This is his last day of comfort. Only blood and sweat await outside. He tells the sleeping young master to rest while he still can. Yeo-Woon's hand twitches. The Nano is reshaping muscle fibers for butterfly sword dance, 80% complete. 1 hour later, the physician dozes at his desk, snoring softly. A sudden retching sound jolts him awake. He spins around in panic. What's happening? Is the young master all right? Yeo-Woon doubles over, retching violently onto the floor. The physician rushes over in alarm. Why this sudden convulsion? Is the young master sick? He soothes Yeo-Woon, telling him to let it out and lie back down. Then he reaches for the wrist to check the pulse and freezes. Something is off. The boy was fast asleep moments ago, so how can his pulse feel like this? Yeo-Woon gasps a few times, then settles into calm, even breathing. The physician stares baffled. He's fine again, and no textbook covers anything like this. He gives up and heads off for lunch, and the moment he leaves, Yeo-Woon's violet eyes flick open. Alone in the silence, the young master sits up slowly. He raises a hand, then clenches it tight. The power in his fists is unrecognizable, utterly different from 6 hours ago. If Meng saw this, the man would faint. Memory replays earlier on the rooftop. Meng had unleashed a whirlwind around himself. The wind god had blasted away dust with raw form alone, no internal energy involved. Yeo-Woon marvels, only a codified technique, yet so devastating. He asks the Nano if it scanned the move. The Nano answers in his head, yes, everything was scanned and stored. Flashback. Meng smiles and asks Yeo-Woon if he saw the technique clearly. The boy answers yes. The redhead laments sadly. This is their last day. But a talent like his needs only a demonstration to learn the dancing butterfly technique. Yeo-Woon bows deeply. The master has taught him much. Meng tells him to keep at it. Meng warns him once he's back at the academy, things will turn brutal again. He practices the form, sweeping the air around him. Back in his room, Yeo-Woon gazes up, a quiet resolve in his violet eyes. At least one person at the academy stands with him. Yeo-Woon steels himself in the dim infirmary. He can't disappoint his teacher. He asks the Nano if the analysis is complete. The Nano replies it can alter his muscle fibers and blood vessels to match Meng's scanned level. 6 hours. The boy frowns. Why so long? He drops into stance and sweeps his hand through the air. A blast of wind erupts outward, slamming dust and debris in every direction. Yeo-Woon grins. Only the first form of the dancing butterfly, yet it matches Meng. Time for the second. He freezes mid-thought. Someone is walking down the hallway, and he can feel them clearly. He stares at his own hands, stunned. Since when were his senses this sharp? Is this part of the body enhancement too? A wicked grin spreads across his face. Perfect, he's ready now. The door slides open. Physician Beck stands there, chewing a stick of medicine, and Yeo-Woon stiffens. The physician squints. Did he just wake up? What's this about being ready? Yeo-Woon recovers smoothly, ready to be discharged. So it had been Beck in the hallway all along. Yeo-Woon pats the embroidered emblem on his robe, composing himself. The physician sighs. Patients are already scarce, and with the young master gone, he'll be bored to death. Yeo-Woon smirks faintly. More patients will come soon. Beck shrugs. Actually, an empty academy is probably for the best. Yeo-Woon bows in thanks. The physician wishes him luck, warning that hard days lie ahead. Outside, Beck slumps onto his stool. Now he has nothing to do. Maybe a nap is in order. At the gate, Yeo-Woon pauses, hand against the doorframe. He reflects quietly. If Beck hadn't turned a blind eye to Seop-Mang's lessons, the infirmary would have been unbearable. He won't forget that kindness. His violet eyes glint as he glances back. Beck wanted more patience, and Yeo-Woon promises to send some his way. At the Academy's great drill hall, afternoon group formation training is underway. 3 cadets whisper among themselves. The other young master in their group has finally shown up. Cheon Mukim grins from across the field, so the bastard heir has arrived. Yeo-Woon strides in, calm and unbothered by Mukim's contempt. The professor greets him warmly, asking how he's healed. Yeo-Woon bows and confirms he remembers his role in the formation drill. The professor hands him a shield and short blade, sending him to his post. Mukim steps into his path, smirk sharp. He mocks Yeo-Woon for hiding from training like a coward. Yeo-Woon walks past without a word. Mukim's face twists. The brat just ignored him. Yeo-Woon smirks inwardly. Too soon to lose your temper, Mukim. The real lesson comes later. The professor bellows for sword training to begin. Stay alert, keep distance. He warns that another accident will get them all expelled. At his command, the cadets snap into formation across the hall. A red flag whips up the signal to advance. The formation surges forward in unison. The professor notes that Mukim, arrogant as he is, leads his group competently, but Yeo-Woon is the real concern. He placed Yeo-Woon in the easiest spot, praying the boy doesn't stumble. To his surprise, Yeo-Woon keeps pace flawlessly, as if he's been studying the others all along. The professor barks at the cadets to hold their shields and keep their stances. He praises them, ordering everyone to freeze. Then someone's gear clatters, breaking the silence. The professor snaps at the trembling cadet, pull it together or fail the second exam. He wonders how Yeo-Woon keeps up so smoothly when others have trained for weeks. It's as if Yeo-Woon never spent a day in the infirmary. The professor decides to watch him closer. He raises the flag and signals the next formation change. Mukim bellows the order, surround the enemy half-moon formation. The shields lock together and the cadets advance in measured steps. Yeo-Woon flows with the group, calm and precise. Mukim grits his teeth. Why isn't the bastard tripping up like he should? His eyes narrow with malice. He won't let the low-born vermin look competent for long. Mukim calls Ja-hyun close, whispering under the noise of the drill. He tells Ja-hyun to nod. If he can hear, Ja-hyun lowers his head in silent agreement. During the third formation, Ja-hyun is to follow Mukim's orders without question. Ja-hyun grins faintly behind his shield. Yes, young master. The professor's voice rings out again. Switch formation. The cadets stack into a 3-layer shield wall on command. Yeo-Woon realizes the drill feels easy. Nano must have planted a simulation in his head. The professor orders blades thrust through the gaps, pushing the group for more speed. Ja-hyun smirks behind Yeo-Woon. He's lined up the perfect angle for an accident. Ja-hyun lunges from behind with a vicious grin. Commoners belong on the floor. Yeo-Woon's boot snaps backward, catching Ja-hyun square in the gut. A single violet eye glares through his hair, cold and unbothered. Ja-hyun shudders. Did the brat read his plan? He swears to crush him with everything now. Nano fires a current through Yeo-Woon's body and Ja-hyun is hurled backward in a flash. He sails through the air and crashes down before the entire formation. Mukim's jaw drops. Did Ja-hyun just get blown back by his own attack? Ja-hyun lies sprawled in the dirt, dazed and speechless. He struggles to understand, could the bastard's internal energy really outmatch his own? A shadow falls over him. The professor has stepped close. The professor looms above, arms crossed. Not this fool again. Ja-hyun stammers for the professor, but his foot suddenly seizes with pain. He can't understand why his foot still throbs from kicking nothing but air. The surrounding cadets gasp. Something just happened that none of them caught. Yeo-Woon smirks behind his shield, the secret of his counter safely hidden. Ja-hyun clenches his teeth. How dare the lowlife mock him? The professor orders him to wipe the look off his face, while Ja-hyun blurts that it was Yeo-Woon's behind that struck him. A sheathed blade cracks across his head. The professor demands what's wrong with him. He accuses Ja-hyun of being the one who stabbed Cadet 23 in the back before too. The professor sentences him 3 days of extra hellish training, no rest, no excuses. Ja-hyun shudders, throwing his fist up in desperate loyalty for the demonic way. The other cadets sneer as he's dragged off. What a loser, riding Mukim's coattail only to suffer for it. Ja-hyun grinds his teeth, humiliation burning through him. Mukim bares his teeth in rage, his fury already turning toward its real target, Yeo-Woon. A voice booms, for the next 3 days, the young master will have no free time. The instructor warns of extra training until bedtime, telling him to brace for hell. Yeo-Woon tries to protest, calling out to the professor. The instructor cuts him off, no more excuses. Yeo-Woon dashes off toward the demonic way at once. From afar, a figure watches Yeo-Woon's inner power runs deeper than expected. Guard Jang may be the right-hand bodyguard, but even so, it doesn't add up. The redhead muses the bald one should have gained 30 years of power from the demonic dragon marble. So does that mean Yeo-Woon's strength has already surpassed it? And there's no way that drunk fool Seopmang could ever be a real teacher. Or could it be the boy was simply born with a body that could absorb it all? The redhead smirks. That has to be the answer. Half-blood or not, the Cheon bloodline still runs through his veins. Meanwhile, Cheon Yushan eyes Yeo-Woon, two young masters in one group. This will get interesting. Scene shifts to the Great Drill Hall cafeteria. The instructor signals the cadets may now eat for the demonic way. Chopsticks dive in. Yeo-Woon savors the soy sauce chicken, stunned by the taste. After 2 weeks of plain porridge in the infirmary, this feels like heaven. But Yeo-Woon notices something strange. Cheon Mukim glares across the table. The entire meal, let him enjoy it while he can. Yeo-Woon notes Group 8's room is on the first floor, easy enough to remember. A voice calls out behind him, and he turns to find Cheon Yushan smirking, arms crossed. Yeo-Woon sighs inwardly. Not this one again, of course, he wouldn't be surprised. Yuchan has brought his usual lackeys, playing the boss as always. The crowd murmurs the young master of the stealth sect facing the infamous 7th young master. Watching from the side, Cheon Wonryu of the musician sect murmurs the names with interest. A crowd thickens around them, and Yukon grins. Shall they begin? Yeo-Woon steps forward to meet him without hesitation. Yukon spits the insult, disgusting vermin from a lowly bloodline. He sneers, taunting Yeo-Woon for hiding away in the infirmary like a coward. Just as Yukon opens his mouth again, Yeo-Woon cuts in. Is he insulting his holiness right now? Yeo-Woon presses on, calling his bloodline lowly is indirectly insulting the patriarch himself. Yeo-Woon twists the knife as Yukon, claiming to stand above his holiness. The crowd murmurs at once, and Yukon panics. That's not what he meant. Yukon grits his teeth. He was meant to crush Yeo-Woon, but now he's the one trapped. Wonryu chuckles from the side. The stealth sect really are complete fools. From a distance, Cheon Yeo-Woon of the sword sect watches in disdain. What a shame. Yukon snaps and lunges, snatching Yeo-Woon by the collar to shut that arrogant mouth. A fist cracks across Yuchon's face, and he reels back, coughing. Yeo-Woon stands over him, smirking. He couldn't hear Yuchon over the sound of his face getting smashed in. Yeo-Woon dashes forward and unleashes the fists of stealth. He swings hard, then leaps away in a flash. Yuchon can only blink in confusion. Yeo-Woon vaults off the railing, sailing through the air. Yukon howls that he's running away. The lackey's gape. Was that an agility technique, and how does someone like Yeo-Woon know it? Yukon barks at them to stop staring and chase the bastard down. He trembles in fury. How dare Yeo-Woon strike him, then flee? This humiliation cannot stand. Yeo-Woon tears through the forest at full speed, the pursuers gasping behind him. One follower frowns. Something feels off. Yeo-Woon keeps just enough distance to never be caught. Yukon snaps at the useless lackeys and surges past them himself. He grits his teeth. He'll catch Yeo-Woon and crush him into dust. Yeo-Woon suddenly stops dead, dropping into a crouch in the clearing. Yukon slams the ground beside him. Done running yet? Yeo-Woon glances back, eyes glinting, running. A blur, Yeo-Woon vanishes again, leaving Yukon stunned mid-shout. A red glint flashes in Yeo-Woon's eye, for now he won't show the others what he can really do. Power coils around him as the ground rumbles. The hunt has only just begun. A blade of chi slams down, splitting the ground apart. Yukon grits his teeth, stunned that his guard barely holds. Yeo-Woon's strike sends him tumbling. The blade air is hurled back, smashing through the shattered earth. Yukon realizes his 7-star defense couldn't stop it. The bastard's power is far beyond expected. Yeo-Woon steps forward with a hand raised, calm and mocking. How does he have these skills? Yukon recalls the bastard's blinding speed, and at the first test he had no internal power at all. Then a sly smirk crosses his face. The bastard is rattled exactly as planned. Yukon presses on, urging himself to ride the momentum. He dashes in twirling butterfly, the second form of the dancing butterfly technique. Yeo-Woon's eyes narrow somehow. His rival slipped the strike. Another swing arcs in, and the blow lands clean. Yukon follows with the million fists, the second form of the fists of stealth. Yeo-Woon's eyes widen as the storm of blows closes in. A fist crashes into his cheek, snapping his head sideways. He's hurled across the clearing body, skidding through the dust. Yuchan smirks. His internal power still outranks the bastards by far. Even with the demonic dragon marble inside him, Yuchan tells himself he can still hold the line. He resolves to keep pressing. No chance for a counter. Yuchan rushes in again, but Yeo-Woon vanishes mid-swing. Yuchan and his followers freeze a shadow image, and how does the bastard even know that technique? Yeo-Woon's shadow image whirls behind Yuchan, vanishing in a blur. Yuchan barely twists aside, but the follow-up strike still slams home. Watching from the trees, Mukim admits the bastard's forms look refined enough. Then Mukim smirks. Yeo-Woon has no clue how to counter a real attack. Yuchan drops Yeo-Woon to the dirt with a kick he never saw coming, then mocks his rival for cramming techniques last minute. Yuchan grins wide. All the bastard can do is mimic blind to his own limits. Yeo-Woon's hand trembles in the dirt. He knows his act is exposed. Yeo-Woon realizes he underestimated Mukim. Real combat experience changes everything. Yuchan clenches his fist, promising to drag the secret of these techniques out of him later. Yuchan unleashes the Crouching Tiger Barrage, the fifth form of the Fists of Stealth, vowing to stomp the bastard flat. Yeo-Woon's eyes widen. No form in his memory can answer this. Then the Nano kicks in. Augmented reality flares across his vision, tracking the incoming threat. Yuchan charges in fists wreathed in chi. The blow lands, and Yeo-Woon skids back. Yuchan swings again, energy crackling around the strike. The fist cracks across Yeo-Woon's face, blood spraying through the air. But Yeo-Woon's eyes lock on sharp, calculating, unbroken. Yeo-Woon dashes back into range, and Yuchan reels that move wasn't any technique he recognizes. Yeo-Woon stops in a tight boxing stance, fists raised low and compact, utterly foreign to Yuchan. The Nano explains it has activated a built-in self-defense tutorial, a boxing battle mode. Yeo-Woon mutters tutorial, as the Nano clarifies a guided instruction with the opponent's moves dissected in hundredth of a second frames. Yeo-Woon shrugs off the jargon, so this technique is simply called boxing. Light on his feet, he asks the Nano if he can swap to the dancing butterfly form he already knows. The Nano confirms the dancing butterfly is fully analyzed and ready to deploy. Yeo-Woon greenlights it. Yuchan sneers, so the vermin has picked up some punching tricks too many to count. Yuchan smirks down at him, but the bastard's luck has finally run out. Then the Nano overlays Yuchan's strikes in real time. Yeo-Woon sees every punch before it lands. He slips through the blur of fists, weaving past each blow with impossible ease. Yuchan stares stunned, every punch missed clean. Yeo-Woon answers with a brutal punch of his own, snapping Yuchan's head back. The blows rain down in a relentless flurry, hammering Yuchan from every angle. Through the haze, an old memory surfaces, Yuchan's mother weeping. She begs little Yuchan to work harder so that the patriarch will love him again and stop favoring that vermin. She seizes his face and tells him to do whatever it takes to come out on top. He obediently agrees. Then she lashes out. It's his fault he's worthless. If not for that wretched woman, everything would be fine. She grabs his throat, screaming that he is the mistake. Back in the present, Yuchan staggers, blood dripping of all moments for those memories to claw back up. He spits the word out. Has he really lost to this bastard? No refusing the thought, he hurls one last desperate punch. Yeo-Woon catches the strike and slams him down. Yuchan crashes into the ground, coughing blood. Standing over the broken air, Yeo-Woon listens to Yuchan rasp out no way he'd ever lose to a lowlife like him. Yeo-Woon looks down at the broken air, his voice cold and final. Yuchan brought this on himself.